All right. So, The Gold.
The Gold.
By Manchester Orchestra.
That's right.
I think it's a beautiful song, first of all. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have done it.
It's a very beautiful song.
Yeah.
I think I've heard every version now.
Good.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except for yours.
Oh, well, just wait.
I've heard every other version except for yours. Big shoes to fill, man.
Yeah, they are. Thanks.
Yeah.
I haven't recorded it yet.
I know that, man, and I don't think you can do it. No.
Oh, no. Hot coffee on my nose. Okay. Don't make me laugh like that. No.
I guess that was the nice thing about doing Atheist. I didn't look it up, but I don't think there's really any covers of it, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah, if they are, it's such an obscure song. I really doubt
it really is, man. If he could have toured last year, it would have made a big difference.
Yeah.
I think actually, I could be wrong. I know Joe Boone, my buddy from England. He covered a Christian song, and I think he did Atheist.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
And
Lyre is his band.
Yeah,
okay.
Lyre.
Okay,
like
cool.
the harp thing.
Yeah. Sweet. Wait.
Yeah.
Say I just know him through your Facebook.
Yeah,
but yeah,
definitely. I think some honesty's due. We've recorded this episode twice already.
Yes,
but things didn't work out.
We had some technical difficulties.
We had a lot. Yeah, last week was just cursed. So what was crazy about last week is we had a really good, authentic conversation, and then we had to redo the conversation later.
Slightly
all the
less
same
authentic.
Points. It was slightly less authentic. So
no, it was pretty authentic. But this time
we're burning the book, man. We're starting fresh.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing artistically in the last week or so?
Oh shoot. Well, I've been doing wheeling and dealing. I just got some new pedals, which is really cool. Never been into that before.
Sweet.
Right?
What'd you get? I'm gonna act like I don't know.
Oh, cool. Yeah. No, it's a Freeze. Okay, wait, hold on. It's Nano Freeze. That's a sound retainer.
Is that the one you stole?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No. But yeah, I traded actually an accordion for this. Yeah, for this pedal. Ooh.
Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, so what it does is literally trap the sound in an instant and expand it infinitely. So
yeah.
It's really fun. Super droney. Very cuz my buddy who's a yoga instructor came over, Yoga Joe. He came over yesterday and he's doing some, leading some meditation. It's just very atmospheric. He was sitting, legs crossed on the floor, crisscross applesauce, and I was just playing with the sound retainer, and we were just
which is mostly
fun.
When you turn the knob, it's volume, right?
It's literally just changing the volume. Yeah, it's really fun to play around with. Like I said, I've never really been into pedals. I've always been an acoustic guy.
Yeah.
I just like things portable, and I don't know. I think you've said before. I remember you saying just I want to be able to do the thing that I do wherever. If somebody has a guitar that's just in standard tuning, sitting, I can do my thing. Yeah. So I love that. There's something intriguing about the pedals, and in my opinion, like I said, when I was playing this cover, practicing this week, I was having an issue, because I have ADHD, I was having an issue just focusing long enough to, get through the song because, I don't know, I just wasn't, I guess maybe it was just my mood. I just wasn't, vibing with it or whatever it was. But then coming into this room and setting up the pedal board and playing on the Gretsch rather than just playing with my acoustic, I used the sound retainer and played some, weird harmonics and had, this really fun atmospheric sound, and then it just sets the mood so right, and I think it can unlock some creative places that you couldn't have gotten into without the thing. Yeah,
it's nice to have a backdrop other than just time.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm far from saying that you need these equipment or like this expensive gear or whatever in order to do, in order to create a product, I'm not, but it's just, when you want to mix something up and just like experiment.
Definitely. Yeah, as you're saying, I've never been a pedal guy either. I was always like, I don't want any barriers because like I've known some really great musicians who couldn't do the thing that they did without like having all their conditions met. And it wasn't necessarily just them being like prima donnas or divas about it. It was that they needed the right equipment to pull off their sound. And I was always like, man, I don't want to be that guy. And kind of over Christmas, I bought a couple pedals too. And my idea was at that point, I was like, I'm pretty confident that I can go do my thing anywhere at this point. So like, let's have a little bit of fun. And so I got 2 pedals, man. And I was playing with them like a week ago.
What are those pedals? I don't know.
Oh, okay. So I got the Fathom reverb from Walrus Audio, which is pretty awesome. And then I got the Dweller pedal from Old Blood Noise, which it mixes phaser and delay. And they weave in and out of each other. So it's a really trippy pedal. But I got those. I did tons of research, and like a week ago, man, I was tweaking them. I was trying to find the sound, and for a moment, I had both of them turned off, and I just strummed the guitar. I was like, "Oh, there's the sound I was looking for." So like, I definitely this excursion. I had a lot of fun learning about pedals, and I'm not writing them off entirely. And I also, these pedals I got, I think are really fantastic pedals, but I'm not a pedal player, so I think I'm gonna step away from the pedal game.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm really glad I learned about it.
Happened so fast.
It really did, man. Because like this is the space I found myself in. Is like I've always been focused on getting better at guitar, and for a moment, and this isn't about anyone else who uses pedals. This is just about me. For a moment, I got lazy about getting better, and I was like, I'm going to go for texture rather than skill. So I bought pedals, and that's just not the type of player I am. I'm more of like I want to just make as much sound with as little between me and the instrument as possible. And there's things to be said for both, because like a lot of the music I listen to has really expertly used effects. Like I love the post-rock genre, and that's all built around pedals and effects and stuff, and it's super cool. Yeah. But that's definitely not the player I am, and I think I just have to be okay with that, So no more post-rock project together? No, I'm still down for that. 'Cause like... But just sitting at home by myself playing with effects, it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't do anything for me that I can't better do without effects. Because like honestly, I love my electric guitar, man, but there's nothing better than just sitting down with my acoustic and writing a new song.
Yeah.
But there's cool things, and we jammed this week, and you brought the pedals over, and I really like that freeze pedal, man. I like having the drone, because basically when you're working with a drone, you're typically droning the primary note of the scale. We play in E minor a lot, so an E minor drone sounds great. It anchors the sound that you're making. So a lot of cool stuff to be done with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah,
but. Yeah, so this week for me, I basically just kind of focused on writing, and I had a great realization, and it's kind of the core behind the website of You Can Write Songs, is like I've spent most of my life terrified I wouldn't be able to write a song tomorrow. Like to the point where a lot of times it was like debilitating. I wouldn't go out and do anything with anyone because I felt like I didn't have any power over music. I felt like I had to wait for the song to come, and when it came, I had to be ready for it. And over the last like 4 or 5 months or so, I've really challenged that, where I've set up parameters, which can be as simple as like, I'm going to write a song right now. And then you sit down and you write a song. And like, if you're not in the mood to write a great song, then you write a not great song, but you still do the thing, you know? Or I did, as research for a blog that I wrote this week, about writing a song with a time limit. Like, so I was on my lunch break. I had 20 minutes. I wasn't feeling particularly inspired, but I was like, I'm going to write a song. I got 20 minutes. And it took me 18 minutes, and I got a song out of it. Now, this is a song where, like, I'm not going to go and play it for people right away. I'd want to revise it and edit it. But I feel like I'm just putting together tools so that I can do this anytime I want. And I think you can, too. I think anyone can do it. And I'm just trying to really find a way to communicate that as well as possible with respect to various levels of skill. Because, like, I don't think you need anything more than 2 or 3 chords to write a song. Now, you might choose to use more, but if all the skills you have in your pocket is G major, C major, D major, you can write songs.
Yeah.
You can write a song every day till you die with that. You know, you might get sick of it. Oh, you will get sick of it before it gets sick of you. You can do this, you know?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think it's fun because there's infinite patterns within those, like, those shapes. And so, you know, depending, like, rhythmically, or, like, you know, deciding to remove a particular finger or whatever it is. I actually, another thing this is actually, I didn't think about talking about this, but another thing that I did this week was I taught Yoga Joe some guitar. He asked if I would teach him just how to play, and I was like, dude, I mean, I'll teach you how I play.
Yeah.
That's my disclaimer before any time, you know. Yeah. So, and it actually went really well. It went the best that it's gone so far because I figured a better approach, you know, is just to teach, instead of trying to teach them like a specific song, I'm teaching them. Did I tell you about this?
You did, but it was on a podcast that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to pretend like I didn't. Okay.
I thought that's what we were doing already.
Nope. I just, like, slowly started to be like, wait. Okay. So basically, like, I showed him the E major shape, and then I was like, now just take it and apply it wherever on the fretboard, you know, like wherever, and just see what it sounds like. See if you like it. And just move it around, you know? And I think that's, like, obviously, like, I don't know. I think that would help. That would have helped me when I was learning, you know? I'm not saying it's the right way, but I think, and I hope it made sense to him. I hope it was helpful to him. That's all, you know? Yeah.
I think anytime, granted, neither of us are, like, traditional teachers at all. But I think anytime I'm teaching a friend how to play a little bit, I'm always thinking about what I think they want. Whereas if I was teaching more formally, I'd feel like I had to kind of adhere to kind of music standards. But if I'm just teaching a friend who I know probably doesn't aspire to be like a really serious musician, I'll just try and get them making music as quickly as possible. Like I was helping my buddy out, and he'd never played really at all. And what I did was I showed him how to play the pentatonic scale just in one position. And then I put like some basic rhythms behind him. And it's like when you're playing the pentatonic scale, there's not a wrong note, you know? Like all the wrong notes, the potential wrong notes have been removed. It's as stripped down as possible. And I was just playing basic chords underneath. So like he was able to kind of express himself a little bit.
Yeah.
And like, that's not how I would teach somebody who like really wants to get into the craft of songwriting. But if you want to just vibe and jam a little bit,
and that's
all you need.
Yeah, and that's
know?
Exactly the kind of guy that he, you know, like he just wants to jam. He wants to be able to sit around in a circle, you know, and just have a good time. And that's pretty much what we did last night, actually. But yeah, it's fun. It's just
definitely, and it's really valuable, you know. So like,
it's therapeutic as fuck, dude.
Definitely.
I'm sorry.
Dude,
it's so therapeutic though.
It definitely feels really good, you know. And like they're like, you know, comes a time where, I mean, basically when I showed my buddy the pentatonic scale, he can only jam with me now. You know, if he goes to a jam session, it's quickly going to fail him because he doesn't know the right pentatonic scale. He doesn't know where to add it. But for now, this is a good start. And if he decides that he really wants to push forward with this, he can go and learn more traditionally, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of value to it because I think so many students just get burnt out immediately when they're playing like Mary Had a Little Lamb on the high E string and not doing anything else, you know. I was never that type of student. Like, I mean, I was never a student. I've always been like kind of autodidactic. Like, well, I've always taught myself how to do things for better and for worse. I could have been a lot better if I would have been more humble.
Yeah.
But I'm also pretty comfortable with where I'm at. It took a long time, you know?
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, like, as far as my, like, how I learned guitar, I feel like creativity was almost like pulling me. Yeah, or like the impulse to create, I should say, was like pulling me. I never would have learned those chords if I was just learning a cover. You know, I never would have learned how to play if I wasn't just curious about like what I could make fit, you know, and then just trying shapes over and over again.
I was the same way, to
Like
be
smacking
honest.
my head against the wall.
There's a lot of that because, like, I never looked up to a musician because of what they could play. I was always fascinated by how it was made. How did they come up with that? And now, like, as I've gotten older, I've changed that a little bit. Like, for instance, when I was a kid, I had zero interest in the person who was playing Beethoven. I had full interest in the person that was Beethoven. Now I kind of feel differently because, like, I understand music better. I know just how difficult that music is to play. And the fact that I do truly believe there's performers out there today probably playing Beethoven better than he could play it. You know, just because like the glass ceiling for virtuosity has been shattered. You know, it's always, the envelope's always being pushed. So like I definitely appreciate that more than I used to. But at the end of the day, music's always been a creative vessel. And if I'm playing a cover, I'm usually doing it so that I can kind of break out of the boxes I've put on myself, see what someone else is doing, and borrow some of those ideas, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's just, and that's the nice thing about covers, man. And that's what I'd like, one good reason, or one like positive effect of taking on this project together, you know, is just every time I've learned a song, I learned something that I apply in my own music. You know?
Absolutely.
Every time. So, yeah.
And I don't think song choice has too much to do with it. I think if you really sat down and worked out a great cover of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, you'd learn something. And like, I don't care how many times you do it. It's interesting because me and Skierski, who's the piano player in my band, we play a lot of covers when we're not rehearsing. But it's like, because he's a cover guy, so like he'll grab a guitar and he'll play covers, and then I'll kind of improvise over it. And like we played some of the songs so many times, I kind of know what I want to do, and I just make small variations. And that's been great, but it hasn't really been the process of me learning covers, and that's what I'm stoked about this specific part of the project too. Is like, because like I said, is like after learning Atheist, like I've used some tools I've picked up from that multiple times. Or like yesterday, I sat down and I played like 4 or 5 Wilco covers, and then like what really struck me with that, because they're kind of seen as an experimental band, which I think's wrong, but how simple and basic a lot of the chord structures are. Like to the point where I was like, I played 2 songs in a row. I didn't know this, but I played one song and like the progression was D to G for most of the song. I played another one, progression was D to G for most of the song. It's not that these guys lack creativity. It's that they have so much creativity that they can hear these same simple chords they've used before and create a new song out of it. I was trying to explain that to my friend the other day, is that to be a songwriter, you have to be kind of naive, because you have to be able to sit there with these notes and these chords that have been used to death, and you have to naively believe there's something new that you can do with them. And I really think if there's one thing I can teach with the website, hopefully it's how to be a little bit more naive about music. Because some people, when they play G to C to D, they hear Wild Thing, and they can't hear anything else. You have to have that naivety to change it and create your new thing rather than creating Wild Thing again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one thing that, like, I am trying to consciously stop doing. You know how you automatically relate something new to something that you know, and when sometimes when an artist shows me, you know, something new that they've created, my temptation is to be like, oh yeah, like Nirvana, you know, or oh, you know, whatever it is, but like that's not fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's definitely derivative art, which is interesting. That's an interesting thing to unpackage, actually. Maybe we could talk about that. What do you think about that?
My favorite song that I've written in the last 2 months is a derivative piece of art. It's a fairly traditional country folk style song. Now it's got some things you wouldn't typically hear in that, but in the end, like
a little Nickley flavor.
It's got and like I'm super proud of it because it takes absolutely zero aptitude and skill for me to make a Nickley song because I happen to be Nickley the person. But to be able to make a song that works, stands on its own, but kind of adheres to a set of rules I wouldn't have imposed myself, like I'm very proud of that craftsmanship. Yeah. So I definitely, if all you do is derivative art, I won't look down on you for it, but that's not my lot in life. But I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, and well, like the way that you phrased it there is like it's really interesting practice in like empathy, you know, it's just being able to like see someone else's approach, and use it. So I don't know, maybe, yeah. Because
what was happening, I wrote this song at 5 a.m. on Christmas Eve, and that whole week I'd been listening to a lot of Townes Van Zandt, who's a folk singer, and he wrote a catalog of what I think some of the best songs ever written. But he's doing a lot of like the typical country folk moves, but he's making better songs than anyone else did with those moves. And I was like, I love this so much, I could run from it and not sit down and write it. But then that would be a disservice to myself because I love this style so much. I want to see what I could do with it. And like, I wouldn't do it for every song. I'd maybe do it for one out of every 50 maybe, but I'm so glad it happened, you know. And it's my song, man. You're not going to hear it, and you can be like, oh, I recognize some moves from it, but like it doesn't sound – it's weird. It's playing some genre cliches. That's really what genre is, right? It's some musical cliches.
Yeah.
And when you're playing with a cliche, you can either play right into it and the listener will probably enjoy it because they understand it, or you can subvert and circumvent the listener's expectations by doing something new with it. The thing with subverting expectations is sometimes it seems really fresh, but it rots really quick. You know, like if I'm playing a pretty traditional country folk song, and then all of a sudden I throw in some crazy chord out of key, at first it's going to perk your ear up, but if I do it a second time, your ear's just going to be so fatigued you're not going to want to hear it again.
Yeah, it seems almost contrary to like the jazz, the idea of like repetition makes it right, you know?
That's true. That's an interesting thing because a lot of times the repetition that those jazz players are talking about is melodic repetition. Where if you're doing, in my opinion, and a lot of people could dispute this, but I think if you're doing a repetition of the wrong chord multiple times, it just starts to sound boring because like the chords are really the foundation of the song. So the melodic aspect of the song can take more risks and get away with it. But the structure of it, you can't take too many risks with the structure of a house.
I don't know that I agree.
I'm not surprised.
No, I just think, like, I'm thinking specifically of, like, some traditional psychedelic, like 1960. I guess that's not traditional. Some classic, some traditional, some classic psychedelic music that the chord progressions intentionally circumvent your expectation in a way that creates a foundation, but the foundation's intentionally unsteady and it's intentionally anxiety inducing. You know, it's kind of empty feeling.
I think if you're using a lot of craftsmanship to get there, then it can definitely work. You can ultimately make anything work. But if you're just throwing things at the wall, it's seeing what sticks.
This is like a recurring theme that people come back to with me is like, yes, you can make anything work, Logan. Like, technically, sure, you can do that. But, like, don't... Like, why would you want to? And I'm always like, but you could, though.
Oh, yeah, you definitely can. I mean...
No, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah. It's like, if you're wallpapering a room and you're going vertically up and down the wall and you have a different piece of paper, like, always next to each other, you can do that. But will it look good next to each other? Probably not. If you're not thinking about it, if you're not accurately trying to make a piece of art that sets those two things next to each other intentionally, if you're just doing it at random, I don't think it's going to be a pleasing thing to look at.
You must not like my decorations.
I actually love them. But, people look around this room and they can't see enough of it. There's like a lot, I don't know color theory at all, but there's a lot of color themes. Like there's a warm feeling to a lot of it. Like there's a lot of wood. And like it's like muted, earthy colors. Like even if you look at the Jameson bottle, there's still something about that kind of looks like Technicolor to me. You know, like...
It's very like early 70s grandpa.
Yeah, dude.
Like
this is the den.
Yeah. Okay, so another thing that I worked on this week is like my buddy Milo is a producer. Eventually, we would love to have him on the show. We've talked about it at least. It's weird to say we to you, but But anyway, but yeah, and I'm recording solos, which is very new, very fresh. It's weird. Just not a solo person. It's new.
Are you writing them or kind of improvising them or a little bit of both?
Both, yeah. I get and just sitting in. But he kept getting on me because, like, like when I sit down to brainstorm something, like I like to just test all the outer limits of like, what sounds could I possibly squeeze? Not that I'm necessarily going to use them, but like I just like to explore the fretboard, I guess. And like I kept doing like just finding these weird dissonant notes, and he just kept getting frustrated with me. He's like, "Yeah, it sounds cool, not for this song." He's like, he kept trying to really hone me in. I was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna record it that way." And then the first time that we tracked, I did like a super metally, just like super dissonant thing. He's like, "God dang it, Logan."
It's like you have to reach out and touch the limits. Like me and you, we've really only been playing lead guitar for like maybe 3 years now, mostly together.
Yeah,
and then
if you want to say that I have been at all.
Oh,
sure.
I would.
I'm just kidding.
But like I've been going through this thing, and I'm finally getting out of it. And I knew what I was doing the whole time. Is whenever I was improvising a solo, I was playing way too much, and I still play way too much. I'm working this out, but I knew the whole time these last 2 years that I've been playing too much so that I could eventually play the right amount. But you have to be able to play too much before you can play less, because you can't play less if you're not playing anything. You know,
like, fascinating excuse.
It's a fascinating excuse, absolutely, but it's totally like I had to know where all the notes were. That way I could grab the ones that I wanted to.
No, for sure.
You know?
Yeah, no,
you got to do something not great so that you can do something good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, definitely.
You got to have that juxtaposition. Please check out youcanwritesongs.com or check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Wherever you like to find people, we'll be there.